Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and I'm bringing you Next War Korea. It's been about a week since the last time I had a video, so I work for the government, so I do telework, right? But when I actually have to work, it usually involves, it's always away from home. I'm on the road. So last week I was on the road doing real work as opposed to being at home doing telework. So I believe I left off I was on the air naval phase, and I believe I just wrapped up the air superiority phase. So I'll get back to that in a minute. But I had a couple questions pop up on YouTube, and I kind of wanted to address those first, and then I'll put this on the beginning of my previous video. So you're going to hear the intro twice. So if you like the intro, then you're going to hear it twice. If you hate the intro, then guess what? You're going to hate it twice as much. So anyway, the first question was from Robert. And his big question was, if I'm playing multiple games, how do I not duplicate different units across the maps? For example, there's only one 82nd Airborne Division, right? So how do I make sure that I don't have the 82nd Airborne Division in fighting in Korea as well as fighting in Taiwan or in Vietnam when I finally get Vietnam? So what I do is I've kind of laid out, obviously, if you look, this is space intensive, right? So I'm fortunate enough to have the space to do that. But what I do is I have all the units laid out. So if you look here, I've got the 101st and I've got the 82nd, 10th Mountain, and you can obviously see all of them. So if I deploy a unit, then I just pull it off of here, and I know that later on down the road during the reinforcements phase, if the reinforcements come up, hey, place this unit, and I come over here and that unit's gone, obviously I will choose a different unit. And if you look, a lot of the units are very similar. So the 101st, well, the 101st kind of doesn't count, they're air mobile, but like the 82nd and the 10th Mountain, they're very similar, right? So they're 344s. The headquarters are very close to being the same. So you got basically these guys over here, those are your light units, and then everybody to that side. So everybody over here, those are all your mechanized units. So this is my personal favorite one, or the 25th Infantry Division, Stryker Brigade. I was in that one when I deployed to Iraq. So in fact, I was in 125. So you can see 125 right there. So I was actually in that unit. So I have I have a little bit of soft spot in my heart for 125. But anyway, so if I pull something off here, and then I come on later during a reinforcements phase to get that unit, then it'll be gone. So what I could do is I could always deploy a like unit, right? So if the reinforcement table says, hey, you want to grab 1st Armored Division, but they've already been deployed, then I could always go 1st Cav, or I think that's 1st Infantry Division, 3rd Infantry Division. I could always grab one of those. And so I do the same thing with China. Of course, the Marine Corps is obviously the same. So, that's kind of how I'm managing it. Now, so the other question is for you non-military folks out there, if I need to grab the 1st Armored Division, is it a fair substitution to use the 1st Cavalry Division? There's not a lot of these at the division level, there's not a humongous difference, right, necessarily in makeup. So it's basically it's an in-name thing only. So the 1st Armored Division is going to have a very similar composition to it as the 1st Cavalry Regiment or the 3rd Infantry Division. They're going to have very similar makeups. Yeah, there are going to be some very small differences, but for the most part, a division is going to have very similar equipment in it, right? You're going to have, infantry division is going to have tanks in it. A armored division is going to have infantry in it. So, it's just a name thing, basically. And then my second question was from, let me go over here and look real quick. My second question was from Chris. And basically his question was, what games am I most looking forward to in 2021? So, and then I had to go and look at, I have bookmarks on my iPad or bookmarks on my computer of all the different game companies that I look at periodically. And so, like, obviously my big one is GMT, right? Like, I think that's probably the biggest and probably one of the biggest game companies right now. So, I looked at my pre-orders and kind of went from there. So, from GMT would be Space Empires. I think it is the fourth. So we've got Space Empires, and then so it'd be Expansion 3. It's supposed to be the last expansion. It's all good things. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't play Space Empires much. I've never played it opposed. It's always been solitaire. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, just for more Space Empires goodness. Let's see what else. The Pacific War. I don't think I have a Pacific War game at all. So, well, Storm over Asia, it doesn't really count. I don't really have a Pacific Theater game, so I'm kind of I think I have that pre-ordered. So I'm looking forward to that. I've really thought about getting Empire of the Sun. At some point, I probably will get Empire of the Sun. But Pacific War's never really been very interesting to me. The whole island hopping thing and all that was never that interesting. I've always been kind of a tank person. I've always liked the armored warfare, despite the fact that I was a combat engineer. So I was always mechanized, though, so I was always in vehicles, but I should have been a tanker. In my next life, or in an alternate universe, hopefully the alternate Sean will be he will have joined the army and been a tanker. So, and then of course, Next War Supplement number 3, obviously. If you look right here, this is my fave. Next War series is probably my favorite series. So I'm definitely looking forward to Next War Supplement number 3. And anything else Next War that they come out with, I'll definitely get. I hope they continue with the series. I know that Mitch, people on Board Game Geek, they've talked about, hey, what about this and what about this? And obviously there are things out there that don't really lend themselves to brigade level combats, like the war on terrorism is not really it doesn't lend itself to a brigade versus brigade thing, right? But what I think that would be really cool if they did is if they just produced some kind of supplement that said, hey, here's the forces of this country, so that we could throw those forces, into wherever we wanted to. Like, maybe the Turkish armed forces. Let's get some chits of the Turkish armed forces, or let's get some chits for, you name it, whatever your favorite country is, Israel, and then get, maybe a set of maps for a certain area. Like, okay, so maybe, the conflict in the Middle East does not lend itself well to this system, but print out the maps. I bet you I would buy them. I don't, of course, who am I? I'm only one person. So obviously it's a money driven thing, but, that's kind of what I would like to see. So other games that I'm looking forward to. So let's go to Compass games. They're probably the other, I don't have a lot from Compass, but they are definitely a rising star. They're definitely something that I've been paying attention to. So I do have Combat. I do have Absolute Victory. I am looking forward to Air and Armor, Operational Combat in Europe. Again, it's a modern. Modern is probably my favorite. Anything World War II and now to future conflicts is stuff that I really like. So Air and Armor, looking forward to the Doomsday Project. The Third World War, that's on pre-order, and then NATO is, those are all games that I'm looking forward to, obviously, because they're all moderns. I just, something, having been in the Army, and that's really what I kind of focused towards is, you know, modern conflicts. And then one that I just recently saw, it was on the Big Board. Kevin, he has, if you look at Big Board Gaming on YouTube, he's got a blog. I don't look at his blog a whole lot, but I do watch his YouTube videos all the time. He recently did a shrink rip of Black Swan by Vento Nuovo Games. That is a World War II, which I'm really looking forward to. And another type of game that I like too is, besides modernist, is I like the monsters, right? And that's kind of why I like this, is because I've been able to combine it into, you know, one big game. Not to say that, you know, on its own, Next War Korea, it's a big game, right? But when you start combining them, then you get you can see over there, you get the naval display and all that. It becomes a monster, right? When you make them. So I have a soft spot in my heart, I guess, for monsters. You know, Absolute Victory is something I want to get on the table soon. And I say soon, who knows? You know, Next War's got to wrap itself up. But so those are the games that I'm looking forward to in 2021. Games that I'm looking forward to playing in 2021. I would like to actually start a World at War. If you watched any of my previous videos, I did the Gathering Storm and Storm over Asia combo game to help me determine where the starting positions for a World at War. So this is something I'd like to get on the table. I'd like to get Absolute Victory on the table. I'd like to get World in Flames on the table. What I want to do is I kind of want to compare a World at War to Absolute Victory to World in Flames. Now, I've played World in Flames, but it was only a small scenario. I'd really like to play the big one, right? Like the entire war thing. And that's what Absolute War does. That's what World at War does, and then World in Flames has the big scenario, which I want to do. So those three games are what 2021, I'd like to do that. A Time for Trumpets, I'd like to get on the table at some point. Do I have another Bulge game? No, I think it's my only Bulge game, so I kind of would like to get that on the table. And let's see what else here. This one's always a fun one, but MBT, it's a fun one, but good grief, man. If you don't like technical and crunchy and looking at tables upon tables upon tables, that's not I would not recommend that one for you, but it's definitely a fun one. But yeah, honestly, between Absolute Victory, a World at War, and World in Flames, that's enough gaming for an entire lifetime and of course the Next War series. So there you have it. Hopefully I was able to answer your questions. It's going to make this, make the other video. This is a long preamble to get into the actual meat and potatoes of what I'm really supposed to be doing, which is Next War. But there you have it. So I don't know if that's the best solution to managing how you do your units, but that's how I'm going to do it. I've also got something else I've just done. These are basically my intervention levels, right? I'm going to start tracking it like that so I can to see. So in Taiwan, I've got, intervention level 1 or DEFCON, defense conditions. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't have enough of these things. I ordered some labels that have the country flags printed on them, and unfortunately, they only come with one flag per country, and there wasn't a Taiwan flag. So that's the only one that's missing, but there's like every other country in the world. So I'm kind of doing this is kind of going to help me with my intervention levels. So there you go. Let's get to some gaming now. All right, we'll catch you later on. Howdy, folks. This is Sapper here, a.k.a. Sean, and I'm bringing you Next War, World War III. This is game turn 4. Actually, it's just a little bit past. I kind of started a little bit of game turn 4 in my previous video, but it was only like, the initiative and the weather and all that. So, not really that big of a deal. We've actually started turn 4 now. Well, turn 2 here, turn 4 over there. So, turn 4. So one thing that I forgot to do is this was a strike 2, and I didn't reduce it to a strike 1 at the end. because it wasn't destroyed. I looked at it, it was a strike 2. When I looked at it, I was like, well, it wasn't. The only way to get it to strike 2 would have been to repair it, and I didn't spend any money on repairs. So that is now a strike 1. I did not. One thing I also did not do was when I moved this amp from, I think it was up here, or wherever I moved it from, it's a contested move, and I did not roll for contested C movement, so I'm not going to go back and redo any of that. So I have to remember, if I'm going to move anything, even on this map right here, as of right now, it's contested. Let me see, what else? Was there anything else? Oh, something else I didn't pay attention to was supply. Well, North Korea is not going to really matter a whole lot. Actually, it does. So I moved these, I think, to where they're supposed to be now. So to trace supply, it has to be from an urban. And this is the limit of supply for these 2 areas. These guys over here should be fine because there's a supply depot there and there's also a supply depot there. But here, it's something that I didn't pay attention to. So I'm going to have to back up some of these headquarters. I'm going to have to back that headquarters up to there. That one's going to have to go there. That one's going to have to go there. And also for this side, these guys are dealing with the refugees. So highway becomes primary, primary becomes secondary. So I think as of right now, so this will be 2, 4, 6. Did I do that right? Let me look. So it's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So they're good. So the DPRK has decided to interdict that with their special forces raid. So I just wrapped up the special forces phase. So we hit the detection track successfully. I think we lost, I want to say we lost 1 special forces unit total. Tried to target that headquarters but was unsuccessful. All right, so let's do that. We did successfully interdict that hex. So now these guys will be out of supply. Let me see here. 1, 2, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5. Yeah, so they'll be out of supply. They need to get to there. We tried to do a strike on this airfield and was unsuccessful. And then we did a strike on, or a raid, I'm sorry. So we did a raid and a raid. We tried to do a raid here and we were successful. So now that is a strike 2. And normally when you do a strike on an air installation, you have to roll collateral for the helicopters as well. But I believe with special forces, because they're kind of like, they're surgical, right? They're pinpoint. So if I was using the raid to raid the installation, there would be no collateral damage on the helo. I would have to do a specific raid to target the helo, and I did not do that. I just targeted the installation. So that was it. I believe I had a total of 5, and that one there, that one there, and that one over there were successful, and we did lose 1 special forces unit. So I think that's most of the admin stuff. Remember, I have to do contested movement, and then supply. I needed to track that a little better, be a little bit more aware of that, especially with the refugees optional rule. That's a little bit more of an upkeep thing to have to worry about. So there you have it. We'll be back with some more. I think it's the air and naval phase now. All right, I have got the air superiority step set up. I haven't actually resolved anything yet. I kind of wanted to explain a little bit what was going on. So both sides decided to use some cyber warfare. Cyber warfare is from Supplement 1. What it does is you get two options when you pick the cyber warfare. Let me get the rules here and make sure. So if the attack is successful after all air-to-air engagements are set, the attacking player may rearrange 3 of them, including breaking an engagement and voiding combat. So the North Koreans were successful. They initiated, and the South Koreans tried to defeat it, but they were not successful. So that's what that represents. So it was successful. So these 3 planes, they decided to not do anything. They're just going to be part of the final count, right? You don't have to assign excess aircraft if you don't want to air superiority. So they decided to leave these 3 out of the fight. But they did decide to break off these 3 engagements because, well, you know, they're kind of one-sided, right? So the North Koreans decided to break those 3 off. So basically, that's kind of what happens, right? We have all these planes, and these guys aren't fighting, but they're still going to be part of the final air superiority count. So this is what we have left over. Over here on the Taiwan side, oh, I almost forgot to. Alternately, so rather than rearranging 3 combats, alternately the attacker may enable his air units which are engaged with enemy stealth units to fire in standoff combat. I didn't want to do that. I don't think, well, we only have this one right here. That's the only stealth combat. So he would still fire in long-range combat. So actually, both of those are stealth. I didn't realize that the Chinese had stealth. So anyway, we're not going to do that. Or actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the second option. The cyber attack was only successful over here. This one failed, so it wouldn't matter. But also, in addition to choosing one of those 2 things, the attacking player may move the AWACS advantage of 1 space in his favor prior to placing units. So the North Koreans did do that. They were here, so now they were here. So they chose 2 engagements for every 1 allied engagement. Both of these attacks did get eliminated when they were finished. It's kind of like you have to roll for survivability, just like the special forces, right? So the cyber hacking capabilities are now reduced for each side by 1. Let me see here. So the Taiwan initiated, and then the Chinese responded. The attack did fail, so the Taiwan didn't get to do what they wanted to do, and they lost 1 capability. So we'll go ahead and put these over here. That was eliminated. This one goes back into the pool, but it is now used. So that's kind of how cyber works, for at least for the air superiority phase. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and resolve all these attacks, and then I'll get back with you and let you know what the results were. All right, everybody, the air superiority step is over with. Here in Korea, it kind of ended up being like this. I don't think there was, well, we ended up sending a lot of guys damaging and aborting because they have these 2-0 units. So, I mean, I knew that was coming. So basically all that was sent packing, and it ended up, when it's all said and done, it is 1-to-1 odds. So air is contested in Korea. And I mean, I knew that was going to happen. So no surprise there. What the big surprise over here is the Allies took a beating in the skies. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. They were rolling really well. So the Allies sent 2 units to the aborted box. The Chinese sent all that. So that's probably 2 of the best planes they had. This F-35, they damaged it and sent it back. I was surprised about that. So like that was the fight right there. And it looks like that Chinese J-20 is better than an F-35 Bravo this time around. So yeah, that really hurt. All right, let's look here. There we go. So send all that, and then they destroyed a plane too. So that's definitely not good. When it's all said and done, this is what we've got. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to 1. Yeah, that is definitely, that's actually, so let me do, I think I had these wrong. What was it? I might have to go back in my video and look. So I moved this one. I think this might have been contested. So now it is air supremacy, and these guys are contested. There we go. That makes a little bit more sense. AWACS advantage goes up by 1. Not looking good now with the air advantage in Taiwan, so that might escalate things a little bit. Of course, I do believe that Japan is at intervention level 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Japan's at intervention level 3 now, so that basically means they're going to throw their Air Force into the game, which definitely need it in Taiwan now because, again, the Allies took a beating in the air. So more to follow. All right, so I had to redo the entire air superiority phase for both sides because what I forgot to do is, let's look it up. I forgot to do this step right here, the air bases with strike markers and the air bases and airfields that were destroyed. So what ended up happening is these 3 planes got taken out of the mix in Korea because of that. And then this plane, the Chinese I would have picked this one as the Chinese no matter what, right? Because that's their best plane that they had in the ready box. So I would have pulled him out of the mix. So that one didn't get destroyed. So things went kind of the same, but a little bit. So we had all these aborted on the North Korean side. This one was destroyed. And then I don't remember if that one was aborted or not, but it's basically, it's 1-to-1, right? That's kind of what ended up happening over here on the North Korean side. So still contested, really no change. I think there's fewer damaged units this time than there was last time, but it's about the same. So the results were pretty much the same. They were a little bit different. So this guy ended up getting completely destroyed. And as you can see, there are no units on the Allied side in the air superiority box. So all these guys got sent home, sent packing. Of course, we did lose the one. So I think there was one lost before, but I think the last time it was a Taiwan plane. So I think U.S. planes, U.S. planes are worth a little bit more. So instead of 2 points, it's now 3 points. So it looks like really the only change, and of course these guys do have air supremacy, so the AWACS advantage does go back up. So the overall outcome is about the same as far as air superiority and AWACS advantage and all that. A little bit different as far as what planes are available and not available. So there you have it. There is the amended air superiority phase. Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and I'm bringing you Next War, World War III. This will be turn 3, part 7. So I've been gone for about a week. I was on the road for work. So I believe I left off on the what is it? It is sea control. So I have done sea control, I think. All right, let's see. We've got sea glare is always an issue. So Spratley's changed, and I think that was it. So the Spratley's is now controlled by China for the time being. The Celebes, that went over to the Allies, but who cares? Nobody really cares about the Celebes. That's not going to have an impact on the game yet. It might or it probably will when Vietnam gets involved. Japan's intervention level is now a 3, so the Sea of Japan / EC is automatically Allied control, and I don't think that can ever change now. So that was it for sea control. So if we look over here, something that I will have to try to remind myself is, so the Yellow Sea is North Korean controlled / non-Allied, and then we've got the Allied control of the EC. So yeah, we've got redundant information, and that's sometimes that's why it gets confusing, is because you've got multiple things, multiple pieces of information that are the same that are tracked on different things. So it's like trying to keep all those things straight sometimes. It's like, so you've got the USA Guam basing box, you've got the USA Guam basing box, you've got a USA Guam basing box. So, it's a lot to keep track of sometimes. So anyway, so after we did sea control, we do detection of naval units. So not detected. We got to get that carrier battle group out of Japan and someplace. So probably over here, I'm thinking. I really want it over there, but because of Taiwan. But we'll see how that plays out. So yeah, I want to get control of this area. I want Allied control of the Taiwan Straits, and that's going to prove to be kind of difficult. Let's see here. So area detected of that carrier, which I wanted point detection, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I want that guy out of there because these ships provide DRMs to the control of the Taiwan Straits. And as long as the Chinese have those ships parked in the Taiwan Straits, it's going to make it more difficult. Of course, air superiority makes air superior is supremacy right now. So air superiority plays into that too. But, all these things, they work together, right? Control of the air helps you with control of the sea. Control of the sea can help you with control of the air, those kind of things. So we used a couple of subs to help. So you rotate those kind of like helicopters or headquarters. So we used those to help with the detection. So we detected the surface action group point, and then the carrier. Not detected. He was area detected. I don't want and China's going to probably going to try to go after that guy. I have a feeling China's going to go after that American carrier battle group. I mean, how good would that make China look, and how bad would that make America look if they lost that? So got that. Then we pretty much point detected most of these ships here. Ooh, did I do that one? I did not do that one. Let's roll. So that is also going to be point detected. Let's see if I can find no, probably not another one in there, is there? Here we go. Point detected. All right, so point detected. In port, they're automatically detected, which is also the case for this guy right here. Because he's in port, he is automatically detected. So that is it. That is the sea control and the naval detection phase. We are about ready to go into the second special operations phase, which is where are we? Are we contested over here? Yeah, so this will be both sides over here, and this will be just the Allies on this side. So I'll be back in a bit after the results of some Special Forces stuff. I have just completed the Special Operation Forces phase for both sides. Okay, this one was both, because it's a contested turn, everybody gets to do it. So let's just start here. So we threw 2 Chinese at this to try to hit those helos, and nothing happened. So they were not successful. I believe we lost 1 Chinese Special Forces unit. We targeted the SAM track and reduced it by 1. The Allies targeted the detection and the SAM track. We were only able to reduce the SAM track by 1. Let's see what happened up here. So we targeted this headquarters. We successfully targeted them. The Chinese did. So now they are detected and with a target. So that will help with trying to hit them with strikes, should I so choose. We might not do strikes on them, but it always gives you that option, right? The Allies, there's a bridge right there. So let's see if you can see that bridge right there. So they targeted that bridge with a raid and hit it, did a strike 2 on it. So the bridge is still there, unfortunately, but it's almost gone. So this will definitely give the Allies something to think about, whether we want to hit that bridge, because then supply will not be able to get across easily. They'd have to go from here to here to here to here to here, and then down in there. So they can probably do it, but so tracing supply is going to be a little bit more difficult, basically. So that'll give them some thoughts on whether or not they want to fully take that bridge out. I don't know if I covered it in an earlier video, but when you take out bridges, you earn victory points. So if the Allies take out their own bridges, then you give the non-Allies victory points. I think it's 1 victory point for the bridge when you take it out. So I don't know if you take out the same bridge over and over. I know with installations, you can only get the VPs for them once, no matter how many times you destroy them. So I'm sure the bridges is going to be the same way. The Allies did a targeting mission, so that was a Japanese Special Forces yellow marker. They were not successful. They also tried to do a raid on it, and they were not successful. And I think that's it for this side. Now let's go over to Korea. All right. Here we are in Korea. It's amazing how we got there so quick, right? It only took like 2 seconds to get from Taiwan to Korea. The Allies targeted the detection of SAM tracks unsuccessfully. Well, when I say targeted, they tried to do a raid on them. So that was unsuccessful. Let's see here. We attempted to interdict this road right here for supply purposes, and that was not successful. That unit tried to take that bridge out, got a strike 1 on it, so still there, but it's a little bit weaker because this is the supply route to go that way. So we're definitely trying to hit supply routes, right? Because that's one of the ways that we're going to slow the Koreans down, the North Koreans, is by hitting their supply. We did take out that supply depot that was somewhere, I think it was right there. So you can see the blue is the limits of supply from Wonsan or Wonsan. Let's see, what else do we do? American Special Forces mission, targeted that chopper and targeted that chopper. We were able to cause damage to each one of those. We also destroyed an airfield. And I want to say that is it. Yeah, that looks like it's it. I think there was only 6 missions. So we had the salmon detection track, this stretch of road here, which was unsuccessful, the bridge, chopper, airbase, chopper. So that's it for the second Special Operations Forces phase. And what do we got next? Looks like we've got the first strike phase that's next. So that's always a fun one. That's where we get to use all of our aircraft and cruise missiles and everything else. So that's what's next, is going to be the first strike phase. Actually, I'm sorry, it is not, is it? Yes, it is the first strike phase. was thinking it was the second strike phase, but nope, it is first strike phase is next.